Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner, and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today, we have a special guest, Jim Cathcart. He's an extraordinary speaker and best-selling author, and he had just co-written a book with Victor Antonio. Tell us about it.
Last summer at the National Speakers Convention, I was in the audience, and Victor Antonio was the main stage speaker one of those days. And he's talking about sales and how it's evolved over the years. And he starts talking about the milestones, like Dale Carnegie and some of the early books on selling. And then he said, the OG, original gangster, the OG of relationship selling, Jim Cathcart. Let's have a hand for Jim. And so, big applause from the audience. And I'm thinking, well, that's pretty cool. And so after his speech, I was out in the hallway and I went up to congratulate him on an excellent speech and thank him for the acknowledgement. And Victor said, I have always admired your book. And I said, well, we ought to do something together. He said, I agree. Let's do. And I said, let's co-author the revision of relationship selling. And we shook hands on the spot. So Victor, who's known for his expertise in engineering and in artificial intelligence and a number of other areas like that, and I collaborated and revised the book into a 2024 edition that comes out in a few weeks from now. And it's called Relationship Selling, of course, but the subtitle is Managing Human Connections as Sales Assets. So it's not be nice to people selling. It's managing sales in such a way that you consider a relationship, which starts with a simple transaction or a simple meeting, as an asset that you're going to grow all the way through being lifelong business partners with this customer.
When I speak to sales leaders, they're all concerned about two things. One is getting the best people on the bus, and secondly, getting the best technology that makes that bus go faster. How do sales organizations balance people, process, and technology?
Who are you looking for? You ought to look at your own company culture and say, does that person fit here? Is that the kind of person I look forward to seeing at the office each day? Because if you'd kind of dread it, then what you're hiring is future misery. Figure out what your own company culture is and get real clear on that. And if your company culture is articulated easily in your standards and your values, and that shows up in the way you train your people and the way you manage your sales and sales processes and the way you treat your customers and the policies you put in place for serving your customers and retaining them, then everything can be easily put into one lane. But if that's not clarified, then what you're going to end up is a patchwork quilt of sales technologies and sales processes and sales language and people who come and go.
We live in an age where we have a wealth of virtual connections and poverty of personal relationships.
But it's kind of like if a company is selling its products through a kiosk, if you buy from the kiosk, they've begun a relationship with you, but they don't know who you are, and you may never come back. But if somehow in dealing with that kiosk, which could be a website, if somehow they capture some contact information for you, then they can cultivate that relationship. So we should never look at selling as transactions. We should look at selling as cells in a living system.
I think there's a difference between a network and an ecosystem. I think that's what you're trying to describe.
That's a great way to say it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because an ecosystem is a living system. And when I talk about organizations, like in this graphic over on the wall there, in the corner past the guitar, you can see a drawing of a tree.
Yeah.
What that is an organizational chart that shows the root system growing toward resources and the limbs and branches growing toward the sunlight and rain.
Yeah.
So the growth system is your sales, that's outreach. And the root system is your resources connecting with all of the things that allow you to be strong.
I cannot wait to read the new book, Jim. I want everybody to head over to Amazon.com and get Jim's book that he co-wrote with my friend Victor Antonio. This is a groundbreaking new book that everybody should read.